It is the Christmas season, and I'm glad you guys chose to join us today for worship as the Christmas season begins. We are starting this new series, Gift Revolution, and I'm excited to be in this new series. We just finished up our search series, and during that series, things were a little bit different. That I kind of approached things differently because I was answering these questions, and then last week Adam was up here, and I hear that Adam did a really good job bringing the message last week. Adam is a good friend of mine. We went to high school together, graduated together, and I was very excited that he was here with you guys last week as Shanda and I were taking a few days off before our life starts to change. I'm getting just a little bit of feedback. Shanda and I took a few days off before everything kind of turns on its side for us here in a couple more weeks. So I've kind of feel like I haven't actually preached for a couple weeks, because everything's been a little different, and I'm kind of excited. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous because it's like I feel like maybe I'm out of practice. It's been over a month since I've done this, and I was getting used to doing it every week. And so, but I'm excited to be back up here as we start this series, Gift Revolution, and I'm going to get into here in a little bit exactly more what the Gift Revolution is. But there's that first part of that word gift here, and I think that right there, gift, that's a big part of this season, isn't it? No matter how you look at it, no matter what spin you put on it, giving gifts is a major part of the holiday season. I'll be honest with you. I love getting gifts. Okay, I do. Who here does not like getting gifts? No hands went up. Not a single one. No one even thought twice. We all love getting gifts. It's the truth. Now, I will say this. I have had a little trouble in the last couple of weeks with gifts. And the reason is as people have been trying to give us gifts for our baby, there's some very expensive things that you have to have for babies, okay? Very expensive. And I have trouble as a person, and I'm sure this is just my pride getting in the way, but I have trouble asking for gifts like that. I have trouble asking God to ask people to do that. I'm going to switch to this mic right here. Are we good? There we go. You go with the flow, okay? You just go with the flow. But I have trouble asking other people to give me stuff. And so I've had a really hard time with saying, people keep coming to me saying, we want to buy you the big stuff. And I'm like, what do you, because I don't want to say it. But I finally, started kind of easing down and letting my pride subside. And, last night when we came home and my boss and good friend, Mel and Brett Cook, had left a stroller car seat combination on our front porch, and I'm sitting here going, man, I'm really good that I gave that up. I'm really happy to be getting these gifts right now. We love to give gifts, and we all, I'm sure, have memories of gifts that we have received during the Christmas season. As we think about those gifts, I think we can all say that we've got some gifts that are our favorite gifts. When we think about the things that we've gotten, our favorite gifts we've gotten during the Christmas season, those things that we can't forget. And I want to share with you really quick a story about one of the best gifts that I ever got for Christmas. When I was just a kid, I think I was like 10 years old, we were at Walmart, and this was before Ava. I grew up in Ava, by the way, and just down the road, and this was before Ava had a super center. All they had was just a plain old Walmart, didn't have a large selection, and so we would go to either Mountain Grove or Springfield, and I don't remember which one we were at, but we were at one of those super centers, and we were shopping for some stuff, and my parents took me into the shoe aisle. And they said, John, we're going to get your cousin a new pair of shoes for Christmas. Didn't tell me which cousin, just said a cousin. And your cousin is around the same size as you. And so we need you to try on these shoes and see if they would fit. And so I go and I try on these shoes. And these are like, I don't remember what brand they were, but maybe like New Balance brand. I don't know if they were Nike or whatever. But the cool thing about these shoes, there was two cool things about these shoes. The first was this. They were my favorite color. Okay, they were white on top, and they had blue on the rim of the shoe, on the bottom, around the sole of the shoe. And the second cool part about this shoe was that when you walked, they flashed. They lit up. You remember those? You remember those? Aren't they awesome? They were the coolest thing in the world when I was a kid. I mean, when elementary age kid, going down the basketball court and your shoes are flashing, that was just the coolest thing ever. And I tried these shoes on and they made sure they fit all right. And, they had me run back and forth in them in the hall and at the store. And they said, do you like these? Yeah. Do you think another little boy would like these? Yeah. So they pack them all up and they buy them. And I'm there for all of this, right? And they've got me tricked this whole time. Christmas rolls around. And Christmas rolls around, and I go to open a present. I open this present, and here it is the shoebox. And I'm like, okay, they recycled the shoebox to put one of my presents in, right? I open it up, and no, there are those exact pair of shoes. And I was like, did you forget to send my cousin a gift? He's going to be mad at you, What's going on? And no, those are yours. And you tricked me. But, I was so happy. And they weren't expensive shoes. I'm pretty sure they were Walmart brand shoes. They were the nicer Walmart brand that would last a while. They weren't no $100 pair of shoes. But man, I will never forget getting that gift. I will never forget the impact that it had in my life. Because of the story that is involved. It is like tattooed in my head. I will never forget that happened. There was another year, a whole set of gifts that I will never forget. I couldn't tell you what the gifts were, but I can remember the year. I was turning 13 that year. And the reason that year and that Christmas and those gifts stick in my mind is this. In my house, the gifts were hidden in Mom and Dad's room. And they didn't hide them up and away and go, oh, I hope they don't find them. It was just like, they're in our floor. You don't go in our bedroom. If you go in our bedroom, we're returning your gifts. That's the end of the story. Okay, that was it. That's how things went in Englehart House. There was no, oh, I hope the kids don't find them hidden in the closet. No, you just don't go in Mom and Dad's room or you're going to sit around and watch everybody else open presents. So I was at home and I was doing my chores. And we all had chores we had to do when we got home from school. And that particular day, my chore was to do laundry. Okay? And I see some parents looking around going, yeah, he had to do chores. Why don't you? But that particular day, my chore was to do some laundry. And so I was doing laundry, and I didn't have a laundry basket. And so I asked my siblings, where's the laundry basket? Well, I think it's in Mom and Dad's room. I was like, well, I have to get the laundry done. That's my chore. Hindsight now, I probably could have just carried it into the living room. I didn't need a laundry basket. But then I was like, I got to get a laundry basket. So I came up with a plan, and I knew that they always kept the gifts over on Dad's side of the room, or on Mom's side of the room, which on the far left. So I would go in, and I would go in like this. And if that's Mom's side of the room, and I would sneak across where I couldn't see the gifts, and I snuck across. And I grabbed the laundry basket off of Dad's side of the room, and I snuck back out, and I closed the door, turned off the light, and I left. Mom and Dad come home. Chores are done. They're happy. Mom goes to go in the room, and the door's cracked. Oh, buddy. Who was spying on the Christmas presents? I couldn't lie. So I told him it was me. But I told him, I said, all I was doing was getting a gift basket, or getting a laundry basket. I was just getting some gifts, No, I was just getting the laundry basket. Well, are you going to believe a 13-year-old at Christmas time? No. No. You are not going to believe a 13-year-old at Christmas time. And so Mom says, that's it. You know what? We're returning all your gifts. And then she when she calms down a little bit, she says, I'm not going to make you not have Christmas gifts, but here's what we're going to do. The gifts I got you were all the gifts on your list. And instead, we're going to get you a bunch of other stuff that you don't even want. And that's what they told me. And I had no idea. I was like, I don't even know what you got me. I didn't look at it. I don't know what you got me, And I kept trying to tell them, but they never quite believed me. But I remember that Christmas, and I was so mad. But I remember after a couple of days, I remember thinking, maybe my concept of Christmas was wrong. And maybe I had the wrong idea. And I spent a lot of time giving gifts that year. And I remember that lasting in my mind. And I don't remember exactly what gifts I got that year, but I can always remember those gifts of that year. That Christmas will always be in my head. Because why? Because I will never forget that story. It is edged in my brain. I will never be able to forget when that happened. I remember just a couple of years ago, I reminded my mom of that story. And I asked her, did you really return those gifts? And she said, are you kidding me? It was like a week before Christmas. I wasn't going back. So she found out later I wasn't lying because I really didn't know what gifts were under the tree. But I will never forget that. I want you to take a second really quick, and I want you to think of some of the best gifts that you ever gotten. What is that greatest gift you ever gotten? And I want us to do this. Shout it out to me. Someone shout out one of your greatest gifts, the best gift that you ever gotten. Okay? Basketball goal? A watch? What was that? A Bart Simpson doll? A Bart Simpson doll? A stereo? A new bridle? A new bridle, of course. Absolutely. Anybody else? What was the greatest? What are some of the best gifts, the greatest gifts? No one say Jesus because you're getting too far ahead in my sermon, okay? Anybody else? No one can think of a good, a trip you went on. I keep waiting for an engagement ring to come from this area, but I'm not hearing it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If she did say that, it would be the second one that I picked out. That's what, because I got her this one. I was like, this is the perfect ring. And she's like, are you sure it's the perfect ring? But she liked it. I'm just kidding. She liked it, but it was like to get a band that fit it was going to cost like $1,000. I'm like, okay, let's go to Walmart. You know. And she's like, that's the perfect ring. That's the one I got her. So that was the good gift. But those are things, and tell you what, that's the memory of how we finally got to her perfect ring. We will never. It was hilarious. I mean, just the whole story. If I could tell it all to you, I could tell you stories forever. And those stories, they stick in our mind. Those things that you guys got as gifts, those watches, those dolls, those trips, those basketball goals, things that you got. There's a story behind that. There's a person who gave you that gift, and for some reason that meant a lot to you coming from that person. And there was something about that gift that meant something to you. And for some reason it left an impact in your life, and you will never be able to forget what happened. I would even argue this. And maybe I'm wrong, but I would argue that most of you would even say that the least important part of that gift was the price tag. It wasn't about the price tag, how much it cost the person, but it was how significant the gift was to you. It didn't matter if it cost them $1 or it cost them $100, $1,000. All that mattered is how significant it was to you. What about those gifts made it memorable? I want you to take a second. I want you to think of those gifts that popped in your head, those gifts you shouted out. What about them made them memorable? What story is it around them? What story could you tell about the day that you got that gift? What was Christmas like that year? Was it snowing? Was it warm? I mean, what about it? There was another story that I will never forget these gifts, not because it was a great gift, but it turned out not to be as fun of a gift as I thought. I got a pair of rollerblades one year. And the reason that I remember those rollerblades is because it iced like a half an inch that year. And like my sister and I spent half the day de-thawing the driveway and the other half of the day roller skating back and forth on black ice. It's like, oh my goodness, you know. And I'll never forget that because the story, the impact, the memories that it has. Christ came into this world. And Christ left an impact on us. But the thing about it is when He came into this world, He didn't come into it the way that everyone expected Him to. See, God's people at the time, the Hebrews, the Jewish race, they were expecting this mighty king. See, I want you to think about like Lord of the Rings or something medieval. And not the bad king, not the evil king, but the good king was always like this 6'5", muscly guy with a chiseled jaw, and he was this like such a warrior. He could, slay 5 enemies with a swipe. We just watched the movie Hercules with Dwayne Johnson. And anybody seen that movie? I mean, seriously, that's an awesome movie. I don't care what you say. I mean, and just some of the scenes in there, he takes a club and just pop, 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 pop. I mean, just like knocks down 5 guys at once. And he's big and he's strong and I mean, that's what they were thinking of. That's their king, a mighty warrior who would come and release them from their captivity and take away the rule of the Romans and restore everything to the way it was back in the good old days of King David, back before he fell. And that's what they were expecting, and that's what they were waiting for. And it was like, the Prince Charming on the chair, on the white horse type thing. That's what God's people were waiting for. And what they got instead was a kid born to a poor family who didn't even have enough time or money to get a good room in a motel and had to be born in a barn. That's the king they got. They got a king who was born in a manger surrounded by animals wrapped in swaddling clothes. And sure, a few people took notice. The wise men, they saw the gift, even in the bad packaging, and they said, that's it. The shepherds, they saw the gift, even with the rough tape job, and they said, that's a good gift. The angels sang His praise, even though their God, the only begotten Son, had became man, had humbled Himself, became a human, and was a weakling compared to who He was in heaven. They still saw the great gift and worshipped for what was happening. So they saw the gift. They saw the impact. But the world, they didn't see it. In fact, this statement was made. This statement was made in the book of John. A man came to him saying, I found the Messiah is here. And this man was named Nathanael. A guy came to Nathanael and said, his own brother said, the Messiah is here. I found him. It's Jesus of Nazareth. And you know what his response was? What good can come out of Nazareth? So Jesus was born to a poor family. He worked a carpenter job. He was a middle-class worker. And he was born in a town that was the no good town. Nothing good can come from that town. I've talked about this before. Sometimes there's a little bit of a stigmatism on areas like Theodosia that nothing good can come from Theodosia. I'll tell you this. I've watched plenty of good come from Theodosia. Okay? But the statement was made about Jesus. What good could come from Nazareth? That's the way that the world saw Him. Why? Because He wasn't packaged the way they expected Him to be. He didn't have the right bow. He didn't have the pretty paper. He didn't have the right price tag like they thought that He would. In fact, it tells us in the Bible at John chapter 1 at verse 9, it kind of gives this amazing explanation of how the world saw Jesus. And this is what they saw. It says that was the true light, that's Jesus, which gives light to every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through Him, and the world did not know Him. Now listen to this last verse here. He came to His own people, and His own people did not receive Him. The people that for centuries they had said, the Messiah is coming. The prophets of the nation had said, don't worry, He's on His way. For years, in hundreds of years. And He was standing right in front of them saying, here it is. And they said, nope, that can't be it. There is no way that could be our Messiah. And so He didn't come packaged the way that they expected to. But here's the thing. When He got to work, when He began to do His ministry, when He began to call His disciples, when He began to reach out and to perform miracles and to start the process that would lead to His death, His resurrection, to forgive us of our sins, at that moment He made an impact in this world that has rippled throughout history. To this day, over 2,000 years after His birth, the impact of what Christ did is still being felt. That's why you're here, isn't it? In some way or another, no matter what originally brought you here, you wouldn't even step foot in this place if there wasn't at least something in the back of your mind who said, well, maybe there's something there. Something about this Jesus guy. And whether you believe in Christ as your Savior, or you are the farthest thing from it, you can't deny that Western culture, in many ways, has been shaped by the Christian faith. The impact of Christ in this world has rippled forever. He wasn't packaged the way they thought he would. His face value, his price tag, wasn't the price tag that they thought should be on there, but the impact he left was far greater than anything in this world. Here's the reality about gifts of any nature. The gift of Christ, the gifts we get at Christmas, birthday gifts, anniversary gifts, just because gifts, they're all good gifts, but here's the reality of this. We often want to measure those gifts based off of the value. Especially when we're the giver. We measure what we gave based on how much money we spent on that person. I know families that are that way. And you don't love me unless you give me a gift. You don't love me unless you give me a card at every holiday. It's Truman's birthday. I should be seeing a card from you. That's exaggerating. But seriously, it's material. It's about the effort of the materialistic end of things. We often want to measure a gift based off of the value, off the price tag, off the pretty paper, off of how big, how cool, how new it is. But the reality is this. A gift is truly measured by the impact that it makes on the person who received it. The lasting impact, the ripple effect, the fact that it is tattooed in their brain and in their heart, and they cannot forget that day. That's what matters. The impact. Let me look at this. I just went Black Friday shopping, and I got a nice new Christmas present a little bit early. It's also my birthday present. I sold my old tablet to my mother-in-law, used that money to help to put towards some money Shanda had that she would spend on my Christmas and birthday because they're just a few weeks apart. And I got a new tablet. It's a work tablet. Does a lot more stuff. It's a lot cooler, a lot funner. And I waited 2 hours in line for that tablet. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but man, I love it. I love having it. It's a great early Christmas and birthday gift. But I remember people watching while I was at Black Friday. And I had 2 hours of nothing to do, so I was people watching like there was no tomorrow. And there was people there that this had, just 2 or 3 shopping carts full of stuff, thousands of dollars, and it's just like it's Black Friday, and I'm supposed to be saving money, and you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm not kidding, guys. Some big money items. Ooh, the TV's on sale. Yeah, that TV costs $600. Okay, but they were spending the money. And you know what? Here's the thing. If you have the means to spend that kind of money and still take care of yourself and your family, more the power to you. You spend that money. You get those gifts. You spoil those grandkids. More the power to you. But I saw people there that I know for a fact, because I know these people, that they were spending money that in January they're going to be calling someone else because they can't feed their kids. And they're spending money on this material stuff and this $100 Barbie stuff and brand new action figures for their sons and all the cool stuff. And I had people in line next to me buying tablets for kids and grandkids, and these tablets were $80 a pop, and that was the sale price. And they're shoving 5, 6, 7, 8 of these in their cart for grandkids and for their kids because they just have to have it. And those are people that I know. I watch them, and it's like in a month they're going to go, how do I feed my kids? My kid has a tablet, but I can't even get online and order a pizza because I don't have $10. And you know what? The thing about that kid is going to like that tablet, and he's going to remember that tablet, and he's going to either keep it or break that tablet. They're going to open that present, and they're going to be real excited at first, and you're going to get a hug. But honestly, the truth, and I'm going to tell you because I'm a boy, and I was a little boy, some of those toys are going to be broken before the end of Christmas Day, and they're going to put them in a closet, and they're not going to remember them ever again. But you know what they would remember? They would remember Dad getting on the floor with a $1 Hot Wheel and ramping them off of books. I remember doing that with my dad. You know, they're going to remember is a $10 movie that was the best movie you ever saw that your mom found the last copy of and watched that Christmas that you had the flu. That's my memory. See, that's the things that they will remember. Why? Because it wasn't about the value of the item. It wasn't about the price tag or the pretty paper. It was about the impact it had in their life. I'm sharing lots of stories today because I love this kind of stuff. One of the best gifts Shanda and I have ever gave. I'm going to give you a story of two sides of this. Okay, given the too expensive gift and given the inexpensive gifts that meant a lot. Okay, my foster sister. One of my foster sisters, my parents have, they really adjusted well, and we're trying to kind of make them a part of the family. And we decided this year for their birthday, we wanted to give my foster sister a cake. And we went over to the grocery store here, and they have a woman over there who does beautiful cakes. Decorated this cake. It had a little fairy on top. It was a big flower. And we paid extra to get the nicer looking cake that was freshly baked and was also pretty, and we took it with us, and we, all my sisters and my parents were all like, wow, that cake looks great, and this is our birthday present to her. But we had decided, it was the summertime, and we had decided we still wanted her to be able to unwrap something because we know that they enjoy that. And so we bought $1's worth of those little bubble things where you put the plastic on the end of the straw and you blow it and it makes the forever bubbles that float up in the air. We got those. It had like a 5-pack of those plastic rubber bubble whatever things. You put a big glob on the straw, becomes a bubble. Okay? The girl didn't even have a piece of cake. Okay? She didn't even eat a piece of cake. She only said thank you because my mom forced her to tell us thank you. But that bubble stuff was the best gift at the entire party. They were just like, oh my gosh, they never pop. Woo! You know, I mean, it was the best gift. And that's what she's not going to remember that we bought her that cake, but she's always going to remember that her and her new cousins and all played with these bubbles that her new brother got her. That's the impact effect. See, because it's about how it impacts the person involved. See, Jesus, His impact wasn't about how He looked. He didn't care if they thought He was all that. He didn't come looking like the teacher or the Pharisee or the church-goer person in today's standard. Okay? I'll be honest with you, and I don't care. You can argue this to the day you die, but I will tell you this. If Jesus showed up at our church, He would probably not show up in a suit and tie. He didn't care what they thought about Him. He didn't care how they dressed. He even said words like this. He drinks wine, and they call him a drunkard. He eats bread, and they call him a glutton. But I can just see the sarcasm in his words. Like, I really just don't care. Because he said this, I am not here for the righteous. I am here for the unrighteous. I am here. I don't care what you think. I care about how they think of God. That's the impact effect. For the gift revolution, we are going to measure this based off of the impact that it has. Let me explain to you now finally what the gift revolution is. You've been waiting, right? What is the gift revolution? I'm sure that we kind of already have the concept from the video that we just watched and from the things I've talked about. But the gift revolution is simply this. If you saw on there with that definition, a revolution is a sudden change, right? Well, I have kind of another definition for revolution that I really want us to grab a hold of because I'm going to be talking about it for weeks after the gift revolution, and that is this. A revolution is where a group of people come together and decide that there is a change that needs to be made, and they are the ones to make it. Think about the American Revolution. There is a change that needs to be made, and we are the ones who will declare that change. So here's what the gift revolution is. The gift revolution is this, that God's people are called to love and are called to be generous. And we are going to start a revolution where we share the love of Jesus into this world through random acts of kindness, through random acts of love, through random acts of mercy, and all along giving glory back to God and reminding them of the greatest gift that God ever gave us, His Son, Jesus Christ. That's the gift revolution. Okay, here's the thing. We are not alone in the gift revolution. This is something that has been happening around the world for 5 years now. I have gotten the opportunity and the blessing to see it and to be a part of it in other towns, to see it spread across this world. It's such a simple concept, and it's not something new in that word revolutionary. The funny thing is it's not revolutionary. Here's the thing. Jesus told us to be doing these things thousands of years ago. You know what He said? He said, a new commandment I give to you, love as I have loved you. How did Christ love others? He served. He even said, I humble myself. Like the lamb. He took on the clothing of a slave. He washed His disciples' feet. He was there for the children. He fed the masses. He served people. And when He served them and He got their attention, He said, did you know there's a God who loves you, and I am here to save you? That's the gift revolution. The gift revolution is God's people in movement. God's people going out of these doors and being generous, being unselfish, showing His love. See, here at the Bridge we have some core values. We have 10 core values, and these 10 core values are things that we would die on the hill for. We hold these up. This is what creates our church. This is how we define what we do and the decisions we make. And one of those core values is this. Core value number 4 says that generosity is the lifestyle of a Christ follower. If you have your worship guides there, you'll see that in there. Generosity is the lifestyle. Generosity and giving is the lifestyle of Christ followers. Now, a lot of people think, well, that's, you're telling me to give to the church. I believe in giving to God's storehouse. I believe in giving back to God what He's already given to us and letting Him disperse it through His church. Okay? I believe in that, but that's not all this is about. This is about what you do outside of these walls. Because giving a $10 bill on a Sunday morning does not make you generous. Tithing, which is giving 10% of your income, is a good thing, is a biblical thing, is a thing I would encourage everybody to work for. But just tithing doesn't make you generous. Here's what makes you generous. What makes you generous is your heart. Why you're doing this. The impact that you have in this world for God, no matter what it is, no matter what you are doing. That's what makes you generous. I want you to look in this corner. I want you to look at this packed out corner of goods and canned foods and dry foods for to help feed the hungry in our community. In Pro Tem area all the way down through Ozark County. That is impactful. That is big. That is real. That is generosity. I want you to give yourself a round of applause right now. I'm not kidding. Come on. I got to remind you guys of this a lot, and I'm going to remind you again. You got to get it. When I get excited, get a little excited with me, okay? Because here's the thing: this isn't just canned goods, okay? This isn't just the can of mustard greens that I had in the back of my cupboard, okay? Because that's in there somewhere. This is us saying we have more than what we need, and we, in the name of Jesus Christ, are going to make an impact in these people's lives by feeding them. Because I'm telling you, one bag over there in a family who portions themselves because they know they don't have a lot will feed their kids at least 2 or 3 meals. One bag. That's an impact. And they're going to be able to know, wow, God's people through the Bridge did that. That's the value that we're looking for. That's the impact we're looking for. Because a normal person with no signs, no advertisement, you know what that looks like? It looks like we bought groceries and forgot to take them into the kitchen. There's not a lot of face value there, but the impact will go on and on and on. We're going to measure the impact of the gift revolution by 4 different things. And the first thing is this. We're going to measure it by the impact that it has on the individual. The person or the people, the family that you give to. Whatever it is. Maybe it's someone and you changed their tire for them when they were on the side of the road. What kind of impact did it have when the other 10 cars zoomed by at 70 miles an hour and you're the one who finally slowed down? What about, here's one of my favorite things to do. It's simple. I'm not bragging on myself because it's like I pull money out of my cup holder to do that. There's especially in the summertime, this is awesome. There's a pump up at Bullseye, and it's the only place to get air that's not a actual tire shop, and it costs $1. And I love to just go over there, stick 3 quarters in it, and put a 4th quarter on top. And then they go, oh, a free quarter. They stick that quarter in there. It's like, oh, a free pump. You paid for it all. It's $1. I mean, I literally collect the change out of my cup, go change it in for a quarter. It takes me 5 seconds. But the impact that could have for that out-of-towner who has a flat and just needs to get home, what kind of impact could that leave on that person's life? So we're going to measure the impact on the impact that it has on the individual that we give to. We're not going to worry about, oh, what's their past? How are they going to use what I give them? Are they going to abuse my gifts? But we're simply going to say, I am giving to this individual out of the love in my heart of Jesus Christ. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to measure this impact based on how it impacts our community. How will this change Ozark County? How could this concept, how could the concept of unselfish, constant, generous giving, and I'm not saying you have to give everything you have, but, I can do this. This is not that big of a deal for me. I mean, just the constant impact of generous giving, this town being papered with business cards that say the Gift Revolution on it, pointing them back to a website that shares other stories, not just from Ozark County, but across the world, about God's impact and the love of Jesus. And then it invites them to come and to be introduced to Jesus Christ right here on a Sunday morning. What kind of impact do you think that could have on the community? Because let me tell you this, our community is not looking for... this is awesome, by the way. These set pieces, I'll say it again, Michelle, Dave, Michael, you guys did a wonderful job putting this together. But the reality is this, as great as this is, as much as it is a good tool, what we do, the contemporary service, all of this is a great tool to reach people for Christ. This is not what broken people are looking for. This is not what lost people are running to. What lost people and broken people are running to is love. It's joy. It's generosity. It's people who claim the name of Christ, acting like Christ. And not like a jerk. It's someone reaching out to them when no one else will. That's what our community is looking for. I have seen it. I have watched people, claimed atheists, who found love through a church, who are devoted believers this day. Why? Because they needed something, and a group of believers came to them and picked them up and said, we will be generous out of our heart for Christ, and we will help you. And the impact has lasted forever. What do you think this concept, this simple concept, could do in our community? It could change it. It could start a revolution in this community of Christ Church stepping up and being the hands and feet. We're also going to measure this by the impact it has on the world. The Gift Revolution, the concept, the branding has already had an impact on this world, okay? Get on the website, giftrevolution.us, and read the stories. Watch the videos. It's unbelievable. Go to YouTube and search the Gift Revolution. You have to filter through some crud because YouTube doesn't have a good filtering system. But watch some of the videos and see the things that are happening. It's unbelievable. There's already an impact on this world. But what about this? What about the impact that Ozark County can have on someone halfway across the world? What if the thing that you do for an individual, and that individual goes to that website and shares it, and that inspires someone in the United Kingdom on that website, and they go out and they share the love of Christ, the impact that this could have on our world. We live in a modern day. We live in a day with a lot of technology and a lot of advances, and it is not hard for us to be connected around the world. It is not hard for us to give to people hurting around the world. It is not hard for us to be the reaching arms of Christ to a place where the sun is setting right now. There is no more excuses. The time is here. The time is now. This could change, is changing the world. And here's the final thing. Here's the final thing this will have an impact on. The kingdom of God. Because the ultimate goal in all of this is to lead them back to what? The greatest gift ever given to man, Jesus Christ, who loves, who forgives, who saves, who puts broken lives back together. We've experienced that. It is our duty to share it with other people. Because that's our ultimate goal, to bring the glory back to God, to give this all back to Him. See, we have this common phrase of, well, I can't. I don't have the time. Well, a lot of the things that you're talking about requires money, and I don't have a lot of money. I feel you, okay? We got a baby coming. There's not going to be a lot of money, a lot of cash flow. I feel you, okay? But what about these cans that you pulled out of your cupboard? What about your neighbor who just needs someone to talk to? What can you do with the resources that you have? What if you do have the resources to give above and beyond? And what if your random act of buying a person's groceries ends up going to a single mother who had to choose between feeding her kids and keeping on her lights? And because you bought her groceries, she can now do both. There is no can't. Let me remind you what I have said 1,000 times this year. Our God is the God of the impossible. But to quote a good man named Chris Freeman, you cannot outgive God, but you will never get the chance to try unless you start trying. I'm ready to try to outgive my God. Because when I try to outgive my God, He's going to say, watch this. And He's going to one-up me. And I can't wait to see what my God does when He one-ups me. The impact, the change it can have in our community, in this world, and the kingdom that it can build. And I'm talking about souls saved, lives changed, people being introduced to Jesus Christ. Listen to this in Matthew chapter 5. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. You are the light in this world. Christ is their only hope. But you are the only way that they will ever find Him. People aren't looking for a book to read. People aren't looking for a cool church to go to. They're not looking for upbeat music and fun and all this is great. I love what we do. But honestly, they're going to like this and people love this, but they're not looking for it. They're looking for you. They're looking to see hope in someone's eyes because they have lost it. That's the gift revolution. So if you look in your worship guides, and you're going to see on there some ways that you can make an impact. And these are some suggestions that I want to give to you on ways that you can make an impact over the next couple of weeks during the Gift Revolution. But I also want to encourage you to come up with your own ways, to take the opportunities that you see, to follow God's heart. When you feel like you should, just do it. Okay? And as we do it, today you're going to go out, and they're on the information table on the door on your way out. There's these little cards. And they say the Gift Revolution on the front. And on the back, it talks about what the Gift Revolution is. It leads them to the website to share their story. And it invites them to come worship with us here at the Bridge. And so here are some very simple ways that you can participate. Number one, participate in the Adopt a Soldier now through December 14th. Every year, the Bridge adopts a soldier and sends them care packages for Christmas. This year, we have 2. Tim is going to hit on that some more, but I'll just let you know Lisa Schofield, who is a part of our church family, both her son and her nephew are currently fighting for us. And because I haven't gotten permission and I'm not going to give names yet, just because there's some stuff going on there that I might not be able to, but I can tell you this, they're fighting for our country and they have connections back to us here at the Bridge. And we're going to do Christmas care packages. And we're going to send them goods, and we're going to tell them about the love of Christ, and we're going to remind them that we're thinking about them here over in Theodosia and at the Bridge. If you look, I made it very simple for you. If you look inside your worship guides, you'll see this paper. It says, Bridge Church Adopt a Soldier care packages. It gives you items. These are inexpensive items. They do not cost a lot. They are simple. Travel-sized toiletries are like 50 cents to $1 a piece. And we're going to pack out boxes and boxes of stuff, and we're going to send them to these guys, and we're going to tell them, thank you for serving our country. Thank you for being away from your families during the holiday season and taking care of our freedom. We love you, and we appreciate you, and Merry Christmas. There's one way. Here's another way. Simple. These are easy suggestions. Buy gasoline for a random person at the pump. It doesn't have to be a lot. I can tell you when you're just trying to get back and forth from work and you live out in the middle of nowhere and all you need to do is get to town and get some groceries, $10 goes an awful long way on gas. Okay? My big old Durango only gets like in town like 12 miles to the gallon. I can drive back and forth to the church every day for a week on $20. If my Durango can do that, imagine the impact you could have if you give $10 to the people with the little Nissan. That's big. So simple, but so big. Surprise a random person in the nursing home, and I would also just say someone who's homebound or someone who doesn't have a family, with a Christmas card. Cash Saver Pantry has a whole section of Christmas cards, $1. Surprise them with a Christmas card, and here's the part that really matters. Surprise someone, this person in the nursing home, who has no one. 5 minutes of your time. That's it. 5 minutes to sit and to tell them, I appreciate you, to listen to what they have to say, pray for them. 5 minutes. Try to only stay for 5 minutes, because I'm telling you, there's some people in our golden generation who have some amazing stories. But can you imagine someone who has no one who visits them, and you walk in, and I'll even tell you this, even if they have dementia or Alzheimer's or sickness. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and I used to go visit her all the time. Sometimes I didn't think she remembered me, and later she would let me know she did. I would go while I was at the nursing home, and I would visit some other women. And there was this woman who had early stages of Alzheimer's, and for some reason it affected her to where she could never remember who I was, what my name was, what I did, or why I was there, but she could remember that I visited her, and she was happy to see me back. And all I would do, her name was Faye Humbird, and all I would do was go to old Faye, and she was a pastor's wife who was in the nursing home at 92 years old. And I would go to her every time and say, Faye, can I pray for you? And she said, no, I want to pray for you. And this old woman would pray for me. And I would walk away more blessed than I've ever been before. How simple is that? With the drive and all, it'd take you 15 minutes. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Another way, pay for someone's groceries, even just one item. One item. There's a lot of people who would love to have an extra $5, especially at Christmas time, so they can go to the dollar aisle and get something for their kid to open. How big of an impact could you leave? Let me ask you this. Let's say you got a Christmas bonus this year, or you got something new, or you have an extra cash flow, you have the ability, and you're there, and all you're getting is your dollar item, but you know you got an extra $50, and you pay for their entire food, their meal, their groceries. What do you think that could do in their lives? Here's another way. Number 5, cut. This is simple. Half of the people in this room I know own chainsaws. Cut and deliver firewood to someone who can't afford to buy theirs this year. There's always someone looking to get an old tree out of their yard. What if you went and you cut that wood and you provided heat for a family this winter? It cost you nothing more than the cost of your gasoline and sharpening your blade in a day's worth of time. Pretty simple. Give a random amount to a propane company. And I'm not talking you can give $10 or you can give $1,000. I don't care what you give, but give a random amount of propane to a company and ask them to put it on the bill of the next person to buy propane. What kind of random impact could that make in a person's life? Take a thermos of coffee to a person or a group you know are spending the day out in the cold. That's you already have the coffee, you already have the thermos. If you don't have a thermos, make the coffee, keep it in the pot, drive real quick, and start pouring it out, man. Okay? Inexpensive. And if you see here, I try to give you opportunities both that cost almost nothing and opportunities that maybe you can be a little generous and spend a little of your green on. that you don't really need. And here's why. Because no matter how much you give, no matter what you do, no matter the dollar amount, we are going to make an impact in this community. So here's what I want us to do today. On your way out, pick up 2 or 3 or 4 of those little cards that say the Gift Revolution. And I want you to leave today and this week. You go to someone, you go to multiple people, and you do something for them. You remind them of a God who loves them. And you start a revolution in your home and in your town. And wait and see what God will do. Now here's the thing. Before you can be a part of starting the revolution, you got to jump on the team. And if you don't know Christ as your Savior, I would encourage you today is the day, to finally give it all to Him. And get ready to go out and to show other people the love that He so freely gives to you right now. If you would like to do that today, okay, here in a minute while I'm praying, I just want you to raise your hand and I'll come pray with you. You can come up here and pray. I'll lead you through prayer. But I always want to give an opportunity to come and know Christ as your Savior. But today I want us to resolve to be the group that will start the revolution, to change our community. I don't know about you, but when I drive through Theodosia, when I drive through Isabella, when I drive through Ossie and Proton and Gainesville and Thornfield, when I drive through those towns, when I drive up to Mark Twain and I see kids up there and I know the house that they're going home to, and at Theodosia and Gainesville and Thornfield at all the schools, and I know the life they're going back to. I know that some of them do actually have parents who are trying their hardest, and I see the hurt and I see the broken. I'm sick of it. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of seeing the broken. And I'm ready to be a part of a group of people, the hands and feet of Jesus, doing something about it. Let the revolution begin today.